Let me say, the good people of Rivers State, it's very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate that we should be experiencing this kind of thing again. After about 9 years ago, when we had a similar experience. I got information, distressing information, very late yesterday. And I said this morning, I will come and see for myself. The truth about it, in our dear state, everybody who knows me knows I'm a peaceful person.
Yes.
I can never, for any reason, even if I'm aware that there is plot to impeach me for whatever reason, I'm not bothered about it. But I'm worried that a facility like this, that we used taxpayers' money to build, will be destroyed for selfish reason, just to please somebody. It's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
I'm calling on the security agencies. From what I've seen, the security agencies even compromised.
Exactly.
They were shooting at me. Directly. They were shooting at me. This operation was shooting at me directly. Yes. But it doesn't matter. Somebody will die one day.
Yes. I want to die with you.
I want to die. When people hear Fubara, they say, who is this Fubara? Is that man that was killed one time for a struggle? That is what I want to be.
You will not die.
I am not against anybody. I am not planning anything against anybody. But I don't know where all these things are coming from. Let it be put on record. Whoever masterminded this thing is trying to shift. I had some people gathered here to do whatever. That is purely rubbish. Purely rubbish. You cannot sit when there is a problem and you say you're doing anything. What are you doing? I'm the chief security officer. I'm the head of the government. The first person that should come, declare the place, and create an alternative place for assembly to sit.
Well, that is the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Fubara, reacting, I believe, to the fire incident at the House of Assembly complex there in Rivers State. We, of course, are joined this morning by Barrister Jide Ologun, who is going to be sharing his thoughts on what's currently going on in Rivers State. Good morning. Thanks for joining us, Barrister Ologun.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be with you.
A lot of people have described it as embarrassing, what's currently going on over there. We hope that we can get some clarity on what the legal implications are, from you. The last things that he said just before we ended that video clip was him saying that when there is a fire incident or when there is, a situation that somebody is the one that is legally, that legally has the rights to move the state of assembly somewhere else, or to have a different sitting, or to have a sitting rather in a different location entirely. Do you have any clarity as to how it works? Can the State House of Assembly sit anywhere in the state if the House of Assembly complex is not conducive?
Constitutionally, the members of the House of Assembly are expected to carry out their functions within the chambers of the facility. And in the absence of the chambers being available for that purpose, then they may relocate. And that may be the reason why the bombing took place earlier on Sunday, perhaps to create the excuse for moving the proceedings of the assembly elsewhere. But that did not succeed. And it's not even clear who exactly orchestrated the bombing of a part of the House of Assembly, because some of the House of Assembly members are claiming that the governor was behind it to prevent the impeachment move, and the governor may be claiming that some of the members of the House of Assembly are responsible for it. But it's quite disheartening that we are still at this juncture as a nation. I recall that in 2013, I think around July, Rivers State also erupted with violence when there was an attempt to impeach the Speaker of the House of Assembly then, Mr. Amakri, 5 members of the House, opposed to the governor, then Amechi, had engaged about 13 of their colleagues in a fight shortly after the pro-governor lawmakers resisted the move to remove Amakuru. And that was an ugly sight then, because the maze of the House was used freely to hit the heads of, it was a free-for-all fight. And the policemen were there watching helplessly. In fact, some of the aides of the honorable members in court had to support their guys to engage in the fight. So it's quite worrisome. And this underscores what some Nigerians have said, that these politicians may be more interested in their selfish and personal interest and ambition than in service to the people. It's quite disturbing. And as the episode is unfolding in Rivers State now, we understand the speaker himself has even been moved aside, and the House leader has stepped in. So it's terrible. And the one I referred to in 2013, that was when the then governor, Rotimi Amechi, stood up against the president of the country then, Ebele Goodluck Jonathan. So you see all these political battles, coming up with force. And when the same force cannot be engaged to make the country and, of course, the states better environment for the citizens, it's embarrassing.
All right. You did mention the drama that ensued following the leader being announced as the speaker. So I want you to talk to us about the legality of that. And you know that shortly after he was announced speaker, 23 out of 26 members of the House then voted for the impeachment proceedings to be kicked off against Governor Siminalayi Fubara. So talk to us about the legality of the quote-unquote now newly announced speaker, as well as that of the impeachment proceedings against Siminalayi Fubara. He did mention that they haven't, they need to come and tell the people of Rivers State what exactly he did that made them try to impeach him. So give us the legal perspectives to these angles.
Definitely, there is a provision in the Constitution of Nigeria that makes available the opportunity to impeach the governor. But those circumstances are clearly stated. And that is why the governor decided to ask that they should tell the people what has made it an urgent matter for him to be impeached now, beyond political considerations. And until probably they proceed and carry it out, and he goes to court, you cannot really talk about legal compliance in Nigeria. I recall that a situation like this also happened in Edo State. But there are provisions in the Constitution for impeachment, like when the governor is incapacitated or we have gross misconduct. They are clearly stated there. But shockingly, when this uproar commence, they are hardly in line with the provisions of the Constitution. And even when the provisions of the Constitution should be embarked upon to take that action, we don't take it. For instance, you recall in the era of the former president of Nigeria, the immediate one, Buhari, when he was outside the country, they were calling on the National Assembly to impeach. And the process of impeachment is like trying to drive a camel through the eye of the needle. But I think what we are experiencing now in Rivers State is more of power tussle between political warlords. Let me use that expression, because there were insinuations that the immediate former governor, Nyesom Wike, who is now a federal minister in Abuja, may be at loggerhead with the one he supported fully to become the governor. And this is also not an uncommon encounter in Nigeria. If you go to Ondo State right now, there's an undercurrent of battles between the governor and the deputy governor. And I recall when the former deputy governor rose up to express ambition, the governor of Ondo State, Akeredolu, eased him aside and went to bring this current one, Ayedatiwa. But now that the Ondo State governor is sick, and then people are asking, is he incapacitated? Can he step aside for the deputy governor to fully step in? There is now a battle of interest between Akeredolu as a governor and the deputy governor himself, who is fighting to save his career as a politician. In fact, the chairman of APC had to go to Ondo State to intervene in that matter, and that matter has not even been rested now, because members of the House of Assembly in Ondo State appear resolute to impeach Ayedatiwa. But like I said earlier, I hardly find the interest of the citizens in all these battles.
Yeah,
But
sadly.
sad.
Yeah, it's very sadly, and it's pretty much, just like you've described Ondo State, it's almost the same thing happening in Edo State, like you mentioned, with the governor and deputy, at loggerheads. River State has also had, I remember you mentioned the fight, that took place in the State House of Assembly, with the mace being used as a weapon. That was one very, very embarrassing moment in Nigeria's, democracy. But it's always had similar issues. There's always been these rumors of the governor and his, successor going at each other. We're talking as far back as Rotimi Amechi, Peter Odili, and of course now we're talking Nyesom Wike, which of course is not confirmed. It might be that this is the situation, but I want to talk about how lawless a state can be, where you're seeing police fire water cannons and tear gas at the governor, who's meant to be the chief security officer of the state, where the governor is alleging that, he was shot at, by members of, the police in the state. What level of lawlessness are we seeing here? And is this, meant to be, seen as, well, everyday Nigeria, nothing new here? Or, is this a sign of where Nigeria is with what it's called, it calls its democracy?
I'll take us to the macro environment, not the micro. What happened in Rivers State is micro. I think we have a systemic challenge in Nigeria when the essence of having, some agencies are not complied with. For example, the Nigerian police is expected to create a safe and secure environment for economic development and growth in the nation. And for that purpose, the loyalty should be to the state and not to individuals. But what we have found is that because of all these political attachments and the fact that sometimes some of the security agents find themselves in the hands of masters that, romance them so heavily with money and everything. So they grow beyond the boundaries of the ethics of that profession, and they start acting contrary, because the governor is the chief security officer in Rivers State. So for them to have done that, there must be questions that should be rolled out to be answered. And of course, as we speak right now, we still have a constitutional issue in Nigeria. The police we talk about is under the exclusive legislative list, if I can say that the police is controlled directly from the federal capital territory. The police in Rivers State are answerable, even the commissioner of police, to the inspector general of police. So where does the loyalty lie? And I think, again, this is a good message for our leaders. So if the governors now feel threatened in his own state, then they all must come together. They have the group of governors, they know how to meet and things like that. And let us resolve the systemic crisis we have in this country. Thank God what was fired at him, according to his allegation, were not live bullets. And so what would have happened? So, and when those who are expected to secure are now threats to security, then we should all be concerned. And that is why I have said it over the years that the insecurity of one is the insecurity of all. And I want this matter investigated. If truly there is a battle between Nyesom Wike and Fubara, we need to nip this at the bud. You know, in the United States of America, I've not heard of Obama going to witch hunt a politician or, you know, a former governor. No, they serve and move on. But in Nigeria, it's not the same. Let me give us a test. When Chief Olusegun Obasanjo was the military head of state in Nigeria as a general, go and find his counterpart as the president of the United States of America. That person definitely is no longer as vocal, as prominent as Chief Olusegun Obasanjo is in the politics of Nigeria. That also is a systemic problem. And create an enabling environment. You will not need to be meddling in the affairs of the state. You played your own part, you've moved on. Allow the person that is there. The only thing that is constant, according to the wise man, is change. You know, things won't, we are in a dynamic society, but these are issues. But you know that in Nigeria, having a power block is very instrumental to politicians. They want to remain in control. You know, they want to ensure that they call the shots, even when there is someone sitting on that seat, and don't also quickly overrun the concept of godfatherism. So these are issues, and all this put together will not engender service to the people, development to the nation. And it's really, really so sad. And unfortunately also, some of the citizens, we should be calling for good governance. We'll be taking side in these battles. So I'm really, really disturbed with all this. But like I said earlier, I wish this adrenaline they have to embattle themselves politically is directed at reigniting the economy of this country and putting us back on the path of prosperity as a people. So we are watching and waiting to see how far the House of Assembly can go in this matter. And again, this underscores the power of the House of Assembly. The House of Assembly can impeach the government, yes, if they comply with the dictates of the Constitution. But will they do it? So also, it's about their personal and selfish interest, or representing the interest of a godfather. And let me say this clearly to our wonderful audience this morning. I've looked at Nigeria and the concept of politicking. Now, what is trending? It's about the SUVs that are purchased for members of the House of Representatives, the National Assembly. You know, which party has rejected it? Has Labour Party come up to say, no, this is what we represent, we are not going to take this because the people are suffering? Has PDP come out to say, no? So in their circle, it's all about their political interest. So if it unites them, they are united. I have been saying it. We have 409 senators, 360 House of Representatives. Nigeria should not be poor if they carry out their function, particularly their oversight functions, to ensure that the executive executes the law in bringing prosperity to the people. If you look at Section 4 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, what it says is that the National Assembly shall make laws for the peace, orderliness, and good governance of Nigeria. So these are issues.
Very true.
Just selfish and personal political interest with no coloration.
All right. Barrister Jide Ologun, thank you so much for joining us. So much has been said in terms of the drama going on in Rivers State. We've seen the chaos that it has resulted into. We do hope that there will be some semblance of normalcy returned to the state and we can go about business as usual. But thank you so much for joining us and giving us your very expert opinion.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. God bless Nigeria.
Indeed.